Hello, brothers and sisters. I hope you're having a wonderful and blessed day today. My name is Joelle if you're new, and if you're not new, welcome back. I am super happy to have you here. In today's video, I want to talk about the sacrament of reconciliation, which is confession and being reconciled to God through confession and penance. When I was doing homeschool today with my son, we were talking about the 7 sacraments of the church. And when we got to reconciliation, I just realized how absolutely essential that has been for me for growth. When I was a Protestant back in the day, I never had the grace of reconciliation. And so the only time that I ever confessed was the first time that I got saved before my baptism when I was 16. I confessed all my sins, but I don't remember ever confessing ever again after that about anything. Yes, I would feel bad if I did something wrong, but I never confessed them. And really, I didn't grow very much in my Christianity. I say this all the time when I talk about my time as a Protestant. I always felt like I was getting baby food, and I never was able to graduate or mature past that. I believe that stories really help to explain spiritual things, because we can talk about spiritual things and we can try to explain these things, but I think stories hold such a special place that can get to the heart. And so I want to share a story with you of the importance of reconciliation and how it's helped me so much in my life in this very short time that I have been going to confession, which was Easter. During Easter, I got conditionally baptized. And conditionally baptized, for those who don't know, is getting baptized under the condition that your previous baptism wasn't valid for whatever reason. So it's not that you're actually getting baptized, it's that you are getting baptized just in case the previous one didn't work. Because in the church, we believe in one baptism. And because I didn't have sufficient proof of my baptism when I was just a small child, I got conditionally baptized. And I started going to confession from then on. And I would find myself, every time that I would go to confession, repeating the same sin over and over and over again for the next 4 months. For the next 4 months, I was going to confession to confess my sin of judgment. I kept judging this one person in my life continuously over and over and over again, just thinking that it was a righteous judgment, thinking because I hold myself to this high standard that everybody else needs to be held to this exact same high standard, and I'm going to be the one to hold them to it. But obviously this is very wrong, very, very wrong. It's a sin to judge, and it's a sin to think that you can take the place of God. But that's not what I was thinking at this time. I was thinking that I was standing up for God. I was thinking that this was a righteous judgment. I was thinking that I was judging righteously. But a part of me knew, a big part of me knew that this was wrong, the judgment was wrong. And so I was going to confession over and over again to confess this sin. And little did I know that this was a symptom of a deeper rooted sin. And this is why I think confession and reconciliation, the sacrament of reconciliation, is so vital for your growth, because you learn, you grow, you learn about the true intentions of your heart. You learn about what's really in your heart, because when you go to the priest and he speaks to you about all of these things, especially if you're continuously saying them, you're continuously going for the same thing, eventually a priest, he'll get to know you and can counsel you. My priest said to me, after I had been going to confession for so long for the same thing, said one time, he goes, if you're continuously judging, that seems like a pride problem, and you might not be as good as you think. And that sentence alone just hit me so hard. And I all of a sudden realized what my problem was. My problem wasn't just that I was continuously judging. My judging was coming from a place of pride. So now I had a deeper understanding of where I needed to look inside myself and ask God to help me with this problem because I was going for help for all of this judging, and I was trying so hard not to judge with absolutely no progress. But now I had a key. I did not confess my pride right away because I did not have time to really process what that meant. I just knew that it hit me very hard and that this was something that I really needed to look into. Because I wanted to be better. I want to be better. I want to please God. I don't want to just live my life, putting on this facade that I am so great and that I am so wonderful, because I know I'm not. I know that I fail constantly. I know that I'm not perfect. I know that I always need help. I need the Lord Jesus Christ to help me. I cannot breathe without him. I cannot live without him. 1 second without him, my life falls apart. My life completely falls apart. I need him because he is my very breath. He is my strength. He is everything to me. And I want to always please him. And when I realized that this was such a problem and I spoke to my friends about this, I believe good friends do not just tell you all the things you want to hear. They will tell you even the hard things. They will tell you like when you're not being a good person. They will tell you, especially if you're asking. There was one time in my life where I had friends that I never told anything to. I never told them about my past. I never told them about anything. I had friends who did not even know when my birthday was. I would not tell people things because there was very few people that I trusted. But now that I'm Christian and I have good Christian friends, I trust them even with my dark things, even with the parts of me that are vulnerable. And so I was able to find counsel and ask them for their wisdom. And what they told me unlocked an even deeper part of my problem and where I really needed to look and what I could actually do to overcome this. And then all of a sudden, I knew what I needed to go to confession for and actually confess. And God did a miracle for me. God really, he knows that I love him. He knows that I want truth. He knows that I want to grow. He knows that he knows me. He knows my heart more than anybody else. The Bible says that God knows how many hairs are on your head. If he knows how many hairs are on my head, he knows everything about me. And God knows that if he gives me this kind of information, this kind of insight, that I will actually do something with it, because I will work. I will put in the work. I will suffer. I will carry the cross. I will do what I have to do. I will do it imperfectly, but I will do it. So I took this key that the priest gave me and I opened the door of my heart along with all of the wisdom my friends gave me. And I looked inside and I seen all of the cobwebs, all of the junk, all of the icky stuff. I seen it so clearly. I seen all of the things that needed to just be cleaned up. I needed to cast this far away from me, this pride, this selfishness. And now I had a specific thing that I could ask God to help me clean up and to work on. I think the most amazing thing that came out of this situation was the fact that when I realized what the true problem was, and I worked on that, the symptoms stopped. I have not had to go to confession again to confess this judgment or this pride. I am aware of it now, and so even if I see it creeping up, I can squash it right away and say, absolutely not, because I know what the root of the problem was. I feel very vulnerable when I share these types of things on this channel. It is not my first time being vulnerable on this channel. I only show the dark parts of me because I'm hoping that it helps somebody along the way. And I don't want to ever put on this mask. I do not want to be fake. I want to be real. I want to be honest, even at the expense of people's judgment, even at the expense of people looking at me in a poor way. I don't care. I am a servant. I am a servant of the Lord. Look at me however you wish. I just want to share in hopes that I'm helping somebody. For these 4 months when I was struggling with this sin, I felt the wedge between me and the Lord. Even though I would pray every day, even though I would go to church almost every day, there was still this divide. There was still this longing for Him. It breaks my heart when people say that we do not need the church. It breaks my heart. We do need the church. But not only do we need the church, we desperately need the church. Because the church helps us to know who Jesus is. The church helps us grow. The church helps us get to heaven. Because the church is a spiritual hospital. And we go there because we are sick, because we are broken, because we need the Lord. And that's where the Lord chose to reveal Himself. That's where the Lord chose to show us who He was and who He is. And there cannot be many truths. There's only one truth. And the church is apostolic, which means we have the faith handed down to us by the apostles themselves, by Jesus Christ Himself. And so we should be following the church that the Lord set up so that we can know the truth of who Jesus Christ is and what He wants from us. And He knows best for us of how to get to heaven. He has set it all up for us. He has done all of the work for us. All we have to do is follow, to be the sheep, to be the ones that just are servants and following Him, carrying our crosses and following Him on the straight and narrow road. Without the church, it's very hard to do that. Like I said before, it's like you're eating baby food. You get bits and pieces of the truth of Christ, but you don't get the full thing. You're not eating the meat and potatoes. You're eating the baby food. And that can only be sufficient until you want to grow past being a baby and you want to be mature in your faith and you want to grow in your faith. And I believe that the sacraments really help us in that. The sacraments really help us in that growth. And I know that that is true for me and so many others. I will end with this. When I first went to confession, I was so afraid. I was afraid that I was going to be judged. I was afraid that I was going to tell all of my deepest, darkest secrets and I would be judged. But I got the opposite of that. When I went to confession for the first time, I was met with compassion and I was met with understanding and ultimately forgiveness. It was and still is such an amazing part of my life that I absolutely treasure and love. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys again next time. Bye for now.